do commercials. What advice would you give to me?
Have you ever watched children in TV commercials and wondered, who are those kids? How did they get that opportunity? Has your child ever said to you, Mommy, I want to be on TV? Well, actually, all the kids that you see in TV commercials are just like your own, from all parts of the country. My name is Carolyne, and I've appeared in over 400 national commercials. I feel confident that if your child wants to do commercials and be on TV, that they'll get a head start, and you'll get the information that you need in this video: lights, camera, kids, and the accompanying workbook. We'll cover such valuable topics as agents, casting directors, photographers, interviews, workshops, auditioning, unions, child labor laws, and a lot more. And you're going to hear from Hollywood's finest commercial child agents.
Anything that tells a parent what getting into the business for a child is like, how to do it in a reputable manner is very important.
Top working casting directors.
Have fun. It's really, really great watching your kid become a commercial star.
And one of the most recommended photographers in Los Angeles. The need for child actors is increasing. Their natural likability is a big favorite in the media. In fact, the residuals paid to children who perform in commercials exceed payments of $50 million a year and is increasing. There is a constant search for new, young faces and fresh talent. Oh, thank you.
Good, huh?
It's great. Thank you. You know, you ought to be in commercials. Let's find out what it's all about. This is a typical soundstage where they're just about to finish shooting a TV commercial featuring child actors. Working on a set is fun and exciting.
But it's also a lot of work.
Yes. Tisha, Billy, and Lance are actors. But just like your kids, they go to public school and have friends and family. Acting is now just a part of their lives, like Little League or Girl Scouts.
Here we go. Stand by now. Lights. Camera. And kids.
Cheesies are nutritional.
Cheesies are what?
Nutritional.
Can you spell it?
Sure. N-U-T-R-I. R-I. Well, I don't have to know how to spell it.
To know it tastes good.
Cut! That's a wrap.
They've just finished shooting this commercial. Now let's get you started doing commercials. And one of the first things you need to know about any new business is how to begin. We would like you to meet the family of a working child actor and find out their reasons for getting their son involved in his commercial career. How did Billy first get started doing commercials?
Well, about a year ago, we were all watching TV, and a commercial came on showing some kids about
my age. Yeah, and Billy stood up and did the whole commercial.
I didn't believe it, but he was just as good as the kid on TV.
Better.
Well, so he asked his mom and me if he could do a commercial.
It looked like fun. Dad, can we go play in the garage?
Yeah, go ahead, but stay out of my fishing tackle.
Okay.
Would you have a seat?
Thank you. This is some family.
Oh, thanks. Billy loves acting, and he's so proud of making his own money. He wants to go to college, and we're banking his checks for him. That way, when he's ready, the college fund will be there.
Well, after Billy first showed interest, what were your first steps? What did you do?
We had no idea. We had a lot of questions.
I bet that you have hundreds of questions that you'd like to ask, just like these.
What type of kids are good for a commercial?
What's an audition like?
What is a casting director?
How do I get my daughter into commercials?
For some answers, let's begin by hearing from 4 top children's talent agents from New York and Los Angeles.
What does an agent do?
We get calls from the casting directors who are interested in finding a particular child for a particular commercial. They will give us a description of what they're looking for. Then we go through our list of children and pull the pictures and send them to them, the ones that are with the description that they're looking for.
What do you look for in a child?
What I look for in a child that I want to represent is the first thing, the most important thing I think is a winning look. They don't have to be gorgeous or handsome, but they really have to be appealing. Somebody that you'd like to get to know, somebody that maybe you'd like to take home to dinner, to meet your family. The second most important thing I think is their height, because in this business there are such strict labor laws, especially in California, that we like older to play younger. We like a 6-year-old that looks 4, an 8-year-old that looks 6, etc. And then their personality. They must have a winning personality.
A kid that is out there, a kid that's is not afraid of going into a room with a bunch of agents and sitting at anybody's desk and saying, "Hey, how you doing?"
Today they look for children of all kinds. They like fat ones and skinny ones and freckled-faced ones and dark ones and light ones. There was a time when I think just pretty children worked a lot, and now we go for different looks, character looks, but that personality has to be there.
How much money can they make doing commercials?
A child can earn a lot of money doing commercials, or they can earn a moderate amount of money. But the one thing you have to remember is, what is this child going to be earning if they're sitting at home playing?
Wow, we have a kid who makes $100,000 a year doing commercials.
We have had kids make up to $70,000, $100,000 a year.
Some children earn as little as $8,000 or $10,000 a year, and others earn up to $150,000, $200,000, $300,000.
How much is an agent's commission?
An agent who is licensed by the state and franchised by the union is only allowed to charge 10% of the gross. Whatever you make, they can take 10% of the gross as their commission. Anyone who asks you for money up front or asks for more than 10% commission is not a licensed and franchised agent. So run, don't walk, run away.
Are acting classes important?
We like to recommend a workshop, particularly a commercial workshop, because it's of short duration. And that way they get the experience in front of a camera, they get to see themselves on camera, they see other children on camera, and they get to know what it is they're supposed to do.
Some children are naturally talented, and we don't want to spoil that, but most children need to see themselves on videotape before they go out on their initial interview. They should know how to slate their name. They should know what is expected of them.
Training is very important for the young actor. Most of my children who are working have been training for 2, 3, 4 years, sometimes longer. I think any kind of acting classes are good, but especially improv. Improv is the thing that makes them loose as a goose, able to handle any situation.
All the agents agree. Acting workshops are extremely important if a child is to have the competitive edge at commercial auditions. You see, workshops help build the child's confidence, encourage creativity, and gives them the basic training they need to be an actor. This is Professional Artist Group in Hollywood. It is recognized as one of the largest casting facilities and the top professional actors training center. A children's workshop taught by Sharon Newman is now in progress. Let's peek in.
A good workshop for a child is one in which the child is nurtured, is supported, is allowed to make a lot of creative choices, where their imagination is really stimulated, where they're with a group of people, children like themselves, that share their enthusiasm. The best age to start getting training for a child is when the child is really ready and expresses an interest in wanting to do the work. Start with something that frees them up, such as improvisation, where they're not working with anything written, but they really work on stimulating their imagination, on working in a group, and making really fast choices. Then I would move them into a class where they learn an actor's language. They learn the choices that an actor has to make, how a director works with them, how the camera works.
Training is imperative for anyone. The example I use is that none of us just jumped right into an automobile and started to drive. Why would we expect a child or an adult to jump right in front of a camera? Granted, there may be the exceptions, but that is exactly what they are, exceptions. Training helps you become familiar with the vocabulary. What we talk about when we say marks. What does a slate mean? I mean, if you don't know, how do you interact with another person in your scene? I mean, especially with little kids. You've got two little kids on camera, and they've never seen each other before that moment, and they don't know what to do unless they've had training. It's very, very important.
Find an improvisation class, improvising, making it up. It's a lot of fun. And you really do find out how to do commercials by improvising.
Things I would warn parents about bad training is, first of all, does the school they're taking them to really want to work with their children, or are they just taking your money? Do they really care? Are they supportive? Do they take their time in the interview process? Do they place your child with a teacher that your child can really connect with and will grow with? Do they put your child in a group where the children are of the same level of training and experience? Or are they just filling classes?
Alternatives to professional commercial classes would be community theater, getting involved in high school or grade school productions, any kind of church choirs, any kind of religious choirs at all, anything that involves you performing in front of a group of people.
What you can find, and hopefully by shopping around and looking very carefully, asking people, asking around, is to find a teacher that will enhance whatever talent that your child has, not inhibit it.
There's always community theater. There's always dance lessons and singing lessons, and all of that is very good for a child because it prepares them for possibly, you know, an eventual career in show business, or it just broadens their own vistas as a child.
This is an 8x10 headshot and plays an important role in your child's career, for this is the photo that is submitted to casting directors and clients and many times determines whether your child is to be considered for a role in commercials. Now, for more information on professional commercial photographs, we'd like you to meet Michael McCreary, a top Hollywood children's photographer.
My favorite way to find a good photographer is through friends, other actors. They usually know a couple of names of good photographers. If you hear the name several times, then that's a good choice. Another way is through acting workshops, dance classes, singing lessons. Any of those are good choices. And sometimes through agents, anybody in the industry. They usually know of several photographers. My least favorite would be through trade papers or the newspaper.
Agents will recommend 3 photographers, usually at least, and that's fair. The reason why you should go with the recommendation of your specific agent is because every agent looks for something different and works with different photographers in the sense that they can get them to reshoot if they need them to reshoot or whatever.
What else would you look for?
Well, very important is personality. Does he communicate well? Does he know what your needs are in a picture? Does he make you feel comfortable and relaxed? His payment policy. What exactly are you getting for your money? How many rolls? How many 8x10s are included? Also, does he have any referrals from agents, friends?
What do you look for in a good professional photograph?
Some of the ways to determine a good quality or a bad quality picture is, one, most important, is it focused? Is it crisp, sharp? Also the hair. Does the hair look neat and combed? As in this picture with Tisha, you can see the hair is across her eye. It's not a good picture. Also, makeup is very important. It should be natural, not overdone. In this picture, you can see she has too much eyeliner on. It doesn't look natural. Also, lighting should be evenly lit, bright, alive. As in this picture, you can see she has shadows on one side of the face. She has bags under the eyes. This is not a good picture. Too cutesy. Try to be natural. Don't try to be something you're not. Too wild of patterns. They all detract from your face. They should be solid colors, things with texture, so they don't take away from you. It's being too sexy. Here in Tisha, you can see her trying to be something she isn't. That's not going to sell.
What we look for in pictures, that's the 8x10s, the composites of kids, is aliveness. And something that really indicates the true personality of the child. Very often they'll be dressed up in some cute little outfit, but that child cannot stand behind that outfit. Do you know what I mean? By that, when I say that, it's like not them.
Have a candid shot, usually taken by a professional photographer. Candid for me would mean a headshot that is a close crop shot of your child's head. Real simple. And have it natural, no makeup, no baseball caps, no chewing gum, no fat cigars pretending to be a Hollywood producer. Just a simple shot of your child.
A personality that just jumps out from the picture. Many times what I call the cute look or the very character look. I also look for a sparkle in their eyes, because you can tell sometimes when the child is doing it just to make mommy or daddy happy and when they're really enjoying it.
I think a good professional photo should include action shots, a lot of animation, showing children doing what children do, like riding a bike or making a peanut butter sandwich in the kitchen, or but I like different poses too. I don't want them all smiling shots. I don't want them all with the mouth open and looking surprised.
I just like a bright, animated looking kid. And you can tell a lot from a picture, which I think is really interesting.
The thing that all actors need are pictures, good pictures, and children are no exception. For a young child, I usually start them out with a composite. And I'm pretty flexible about whether they use composites or headshots. In Los Angeles, most agents use composites. In New York, they pretty much use headshots. This is kind of regional. As they get older, teenagers, I like to kind of use different shots to show different moods, different characters, different things that the children are able to do.
What part do pictures actually play in getting a child an interview or a role?
Photos play a very large role in the part of a child getting an interview, because that is what I, as a casting director, am going to look at first and foremost. The exception would be if I have a great deal of trust between an agent and they say, well, little Timmy doesn't have a picture. But pictures are very important because they're the visual calling card. They are also important in a callback situation, because even though a child may be put on videotape for a callback situation, the production people and the advertising people want to physically see a photograph, especially when that child is going to be in a scene with either a mother and a father or other children. They need it for mixing and matching. And especially photographs should be current, because children change all the time. So the photograph, if it is not current, becomes a detriment, because on tape the child looks one way, in the photograph he looks like he's 3. And so it's a lot of job choices can be made on just having the photograph. There are some instances, not many, but some instances where they will hire directly from a photograph.
Pictures play a tremendous part in getting the child the audition. Wonderful, vibrant, alive pictures, a wonderful, interesting face, good professional shots, all indicate that, oh, here we have a find or a serious performer or somebody who's really serious about this career, and we find that very encouraging.
If the child does not have a picture on that last cutback, you might have parents' pictures out on the floor, children's pictures out on the floor. If that one child who they might have liked earlier for some reason was out of pictures and we don't have it, then it can be as simple as that. The child could lose a job because he didn't have his pictures.
In New York, we use Polaroid shots. So when you come for the audition, the child's photograph is taken right there and attached to the picture that you bring from home. So if there's an age difference or a wardrobe difference, we know it, and we see the result of today right there in front of us. We use that, and that photograph can make the difference.
How much should I pay for pictures?
Some photographers charge anywhere from, out here, anywhere from $150 to $200. And with that, they usually take 3 or 4 rolls of film, and you usually get 5 8x10s.
You may wonder the difference between a headshot and a composite. A headshot is usually an 8x10 glossy, one picture, which is usually used for theatrical purposes. A composite usually has one picture on the front and 4 or 5 pictures on the back showing different facial expressions or different attitudes. The cost for both of these is essentially the same. It usually costs somewhere from $100 to $300 to have the pictures taken, and then maybe another $100 for the reproduction. These pictures, headshots and composites, are usually black and white. I don't think you need to spend money on color pictures. They're really not important.
Unfortunately, there are unscrupulous photographers who take financial advantage of unknowing parents.
Now, there's just a small matter about my bill.
That'll be $450, and it will be cash.
I can't even see my nose.
Of course you can. It's right there
I'm
somewhere.
paying for this.
Of course you did read the fine print, didn't you? That'll be $450, or I'll see you in court. Or worse. They never read the fine print.
Make sure you get what you pay for. Be clear on the price and what you're liable for before your child's photo shoot.
Oh, these are beautiful, magnificent, a masterpiece.
Are you sure that I need all of those?
Of course you do. You want to be prepared for every single audition, do you not? One picture just will not do it. You now have 152 pictures of your little darling in every possible pose. You do want her to be successful, don't you?
Beware of photographers selling you more and telling you it's a must. It isn't. And remember, the most you'll need right now before you get an agent is 2 poses, or a snapshot if you don't have professional pictures. Just smiling and natural.
So, is everyone thrilled with their photos? Yeah. Great. That'll be $19.95, please, plus tax. Oh, then there's 2 rolls of film used, $16, thank you. And then the rental of the studio came to $52.75, thank you. Then there's the financial consideration for the copies made of the headshot and the lab fee to process the film. And then there's the photographer's commission, $135, and then the rental.
Be suspicious of great-sounding deals. Like everything else in business, what sounds like a good bargain can turn out to be a very expensive deal. So far, we've covered agents, training, photographs, and photographers. What now? Well, let's see about getting you signed with an agent and started on your commercial career.
How do you get in to see an agent?
There are several ways to get an agent. One way is by referral of someone who's already with the agency, by a manager who will take you to the agent, by if your child is in a dance school or an acting class somewhere, they are lots of times referred to agents, or agents will go there to look for children. And another way that lots of people get an agent is to go to your local Screen Actors Guild and get a list of the franchised agents in your area. I think they charge $1 for it. And then send a picture to the agent.
When you get a child's photo, what are you actually looking for? We say send an animated photograph. I don't care if the child's eating or playing in the water. I don't want a studio picture of that child. I want to see some personality. I want to see some animation.
Just a clear picture of the child. I don't want siblings. I don't want dogs, cats, grandmother, grandfather. I just want the child, and I prefer their face, like a smiling headshot of the child, and a little resume telling a little bit about the child. And that's what I use to decide who I'm going to call in for an interview.
All the parent has to do is, on the back of the snapshot, a couple of non-returnable snapshots, is to give such stats as height, weight, size, hair color, eye color, if they have a social security number, and make sure you have a telephone number.
What happens on the initial interview?
First thing that takes place in an initial interview is we bring the child into this office by themselves. That's very, very important, because what we really want to know is if this child really knows why they're here, and if they want to be here, and if they want to be on TV, and if they want to do the things that are required. We feel that way about 3-year-olds all the way up to our teenagers. We bring them in, we talk to them, we ask them a lot of questions, we play with them, and then we bring the parents in, and we talk to the parents. And sometimes we find out that it's really the parent's idea and not the child's. And in that case, we're not too anxious to represent the child, because then the child isn't always going to be cooperative, and it isn't what they really want to do.
He should bring pictures, either professional or snapshots. He should not dress up for the interview. It should be very casual, because children feel much better when they're dressed casually. He's got to be able to leave his mother in the waiting room and come into our office. And that's all.
How do you find the children that you represent?
We actually go out into playgrounds, and we go into parks, and we go into supermarkets. We go to classes, we go to plays. We call on our managers who supply us with children. We go anywhere that there's a child to find a child.
We'd like to introduce you to 4 of the top commercial casting directors from New York and Los Angeles. They will provide you with invaluable information that you'll need once your child begins to audition for commercials.
Karen, how would you describe the casting process, step by step?
The casting process in New York starts actually with a pre-production meeting. A pre-production meeting is a meeting with my director, Steve Horn, the advertising personnel, that's the art director, the writer, the producer, sometimes people who represent the product come along too, our producers, and any prop people, wardrobe people, myself, casting. We meet in a large room and discuss what it is that the ad agency wants to produce in terms of the quality of the commercial, how many kids are in the commercial, their ages, their types, whether they're rugged, gutsy outdoors kids, baseball players, cute little girls, ethnicity. And then I go to my office, get on the phone and call my favorite agents and give them the same information that I just got. And the agents give me numbers back of children per group, anywhere from 2 to 30.
The casting process for commercials is that the commercial casting director is hired by one of two people. A, number one, the ad agency, or B, number two, the production company. And they will give me a call and they will tell me a breakdown. That is to say, they will tell me what the spot is, let's say McDonald's, and they will say they need 5 or 6 little kids. They will then give me the age grouping of the kids, ethnic background if they want, like, you know, blacks, whites, Hispanics, Asians, any kind of specifics on this, such as very character kids, very sweet, adorable little girls, or whatever may be on that. And I will ask them a number of questions. Where is this going to run? Is it going to be on-camera principal, no dialogue? On-camera principal, no dialogue? When do they plan on shooting it? When do they need the casting tape? When are they going to have callbacks? And then after I get that information, I get on the phone and start talking to the agents, giving them the breakdown as far as the talent is concerned.
You actually go out and look for kids to be in a commercial?
We are constantly on the search for new children, and I have to be perfectly honest that the best source for children actors are the children's agents who do, at least in LA, a marvelous job.
I go to any kind of a showcase, community theater opportunity, plays that are done at schools, whatever I can to find the talent that's out there.
How many kids do you see for a role?
I get submissions back from each agent of about 30 per role. I don't see all 30. I may see only 5. The 5 best, or 5 of my choice that I've worked with in the past that I know can produce the result. So totally, I may see no more than 40, 50 kids per role, and that's a lot. It's just that I want to give as many people a chance as possible.
You would probably bring in 30 or 40, depending on what you were looking for. If the kid had dialogue, it would be probably even less than that, or if the kid was just a personality, it would be more.
What's an audition like? Is the minute they open up the door, they will go into a sign-in sheet. Now, all children are usually accompanied by a parent or a guardian, and there is a SAG sign-in sheet for every audition, and usually the parents will fill out the child's name, their social security number, the agent's name that submitted them, and if it's the first, second, third, or fourth call, which is is it the first time I've seen them or the second time I've seen them. And after that, then what they do is look right next to it will be a piece of copy, which is what we use to call something script. And whether the child has lines or doesn't have lines, the copy will explain that. And usually they will rehearse. They will do a rehearsal with a child. And then we start the camera and we ask the child to slate. And a slate is in essence having them give their name and how old they are, and then we go into the actual audition.
You're probably often given a size sheet to fill out. We want to know if you're in the states that require a work permit. We need to know if that work permit is up to date. This is before anything else happens. Then you sit and wait. And wait, and wait, because sometimes things get very, very backed up because taking a child in by himself or herself is a slow process, and sometimes we have to work with them a lot and direct them a lot, so you're going to wait in the lobby for a while, and then finally your child is going to get to go in. We hope at this point the child has not been exhausted, fatigued, or so cranky that they can't perform. Most of the kids that we see are not.
Usually, and depending on how involved it is, a parent will help them with the dialogue or the music or whatever, and then I bring them in, and sometimes I bring in 2 at a time or 1 at a time. And I, as a casting director, usually like to work with them a little bit. I like to rehearse them. Some casting directors like to just get spontaneous responses, but I like to see a kid's direct ability.
What's a callback?
After the initial audition, the child or your children may get what's called a callback. That means that out of the 40 or 50 or 60 or how many people were actually auditioned for the commercial, your child or you were chosen as one of the final people, and you get called back. Legitimately, that means that they like you and they want to see you again. They want to see what else you can do, or can you repeat exactly what you did. Some of the things to know about a callback: it means you're down to the final few. It doesn't mean you've got the job yet, but it means you're presumably fairly special. That's kind of fun to know. Sometimes you'll be requested to wear the same clothes or wear different clothes. Listen to what the people tell you who are advising you about the callback.
The child at that point has already been in one time, and he has been selected by usually the director of the advertising agency at that time. They've seen tapes of him. Sometimes the director is in the room at the time, but generally not. And they will go through and they will pick kids that they like to see again. And usually the reason they do that, too, is because at the callback, the director and the advertising agency will be in the room, and the director at that time will usually work with the child.
Do kids miss school for interviews?
One of the laws that we must respect is your child's education. So we can't ask your child to come for an audition until 3:30, which seems to be about the average time that school is out. Give yourself time to get to the audition. Don't take your child out of school. It's not necessary, it's not required, and you are protected.
On very, very, very rare occasions, a child may have to miss school because of scheduling to attend auditions. Basically, auditions, at least in California, are scheduled from 3:30 to 6:30. And those are hours in which children presumably aren't in school. They have extracurricular activities, of course, but they're not in school in those hours. For the job itself, for the filming of the commercial, should they get the commercial, of course they would have to miss school unless it was filmed on a weekend, which they try to avoid doing.
What can parents do to help their child at their interview?
A parent can help a child by, number one, allowing the child to be just that, a child. That is why they are being brought in, rather than having an adult be in. The parent should help the child by helping them understand the concept of a piece of copy if the child does not get it. The parent can obviously help the child in making sure they pronounce words correctly, because many times they'll do commercials or different things theatrically where the child will be asked to repeat a word that they have no idea what it is. And the parent should help the child feel very positive when they go in for that audition, and that yes, they did do a good job, whether or not they get the call back, because at least they were there, and that's important. So they need to give the child support, confidence, and absolutely love.
A parent can really help a child by being objective about the child. Now, of course, everybody thinks their darling is the most beautiful, wonderful, talented child in the world, and perhaps that's so. But also, some objectivity is required. For example, if the child is not a great reader, the thing that you want to do is help the child. Reading is pretty important when it comes to commercial copy, though you can get many commercials that have absolutely no dialogue in them. And there are some certainly wonderful, fine child performers that really can't read. But you can tremendously help your child by overcoming any reading problems they have, number one. Number two, the other thing is not to put too much pressure. Not to make the child feel badly. The odds in commercials are not so great anyway, if I, if I want to be perfectly honest with you. So that each audition, they don't get tense, that they stay relaxed, they stay comfortable. And that you don't experience or express to them that you're let down in them if they don't get the commercial. Because so many factors go in the choice of a performer in a commercial, it's beyond your control, and way, way, way beyond the control of your child. It may be that it's the color of the hair doesn't match the color of the parents they picked. So each individual audition should not be looked on as a life or death affair.
What do parents do to hurt their child's chances?
Now, where, as a parent, you want to support the child at the audition is in stepping aside That is, if the child actually doesn't want to audition when you get there, don't force the child to do it. It doesn't work, you're not going to get a result, and you're going to end up with a very unhappy child at home. If it comes to the point where the child is scared or tired, don't force the issue. On the other hand, if you do know your child's sleeping habits, it's a young child napping, your child gets tired about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, make sure that you support the child around being at the audition on time, well-fed, well-rested, and you'll have a very happy child. Don't push, don't nag, and be a great support.
Parents are probably the child's worst enemy and do wind up hindering their career in a number of ways. I'll try and capsulize this down. Number one, they do not support the child's choices. Number two, they'll say to the child when he comes out, "How did you do?" Well, how does the child know how they did? I mean, and they put pressure on him like, "You'd better go in there and you'd better do this and you'd better do that." It puts sort of a fear into the child.
If my son is in a commercial once, does he need to join the union?
There are 3 different unions that a child actor can join. There's SAG, which is for film, there's AFTRA, which is the union that deals with tape, and there's Equity, which is the stage union. A child actor does not have to join until they're 4 years old, and then they don't have to join on their first job, but after you do your first job, you have 30 days in which you may join or may not join, but you must join the union on your second job.
The second time your child is hired professionally, as a professional, in the unionized states, the heavily unionized states, you are now what is called a must join. And that means before you shoot the commercial, you either have to make an appointment with an officer of the union or go into the union office and join the union before they can start rolling cameras.
What is a Taft-Hartley?
That's simply a right to work in a unioned commercial, even though the child is not yet a union member. It is something that I need to do as the casting director. It does not require anything from the parent other than information. That information which I get at the casting session, that is the birth date, social security number, very important thing to have, social security number, address, phone numbers, etc. That information is given to the union along with any past experience the child has, like school plays, advertisements for local newspapers, anything. Church choir will work. That kind of experience is essential for getting a Taft-Hartley. You do not need to do anything. That's my job.
The union has a requirement, and that requirement is that we give preference of employment to union members. If, for some reason, the clients fall in love with a non-union performer, the casting director then has to write an elaborate letter justifying the choice of a non-union performer over a union performer. So that, because the union does have this sort of agreement with the advertisers, the 4 A's it's called, where in their contract it is agreed that preference of employment will be given to qualified union members.
What does right to work mean?
Right to work state is a term applied to a state government which has chosen to step outside of the federal Taft-Hartley ruling. That means, Taft-Hartley, that once you do a union job, within 30 days, you need to join a union. A right to work state means that you don't have to do that. To find out if you're in a right to work state, you should probably call the local labor board, an AFL-CIO board, or child labor board.
Do kids miss school and working on commercials?
Section 11755 of the Screen Actors Guild Child Work Regulation states that a teacher certified in both elementary and secondary education will be provided on the set.
Oh.
The teacher is responsible for the health, safety, and morals of all minors in addition to teaching the child if the child has to miss some regular school due to the film schedule.
What are the normal hours that a child actor will work on a TV show or a commercial?
Well, that's real important. If you're a little baby 6 months old or younger, you can only work 2 hours at a time.
Oh.
And you can't stay under the lights for more than 30 seconds each time. And the studio lets the babies have a nurse to take care of them, too. I know that because my baby brother does diaper commercials. If you're an older kid, say 2 years old, you get to play on the set a little longer, like 4 hours. And as you get older, you can stay longer on the set. And boy, are they strict about the hours. One more thing. They have to feed us at designated times. And of course, we never miss any schoolwork.
Well, those sound like excellent rules to me.
And a parent or guardian has to be there at all times, if you're under 16 years old.
Well, what happens when you get a job?
My mom and dad jump up and down a lot.
No, I mean, are there any specific papers that you need?
The State Labor Commission sends a very official document to my parents. They fill it out and mail it back. Then, in a short while, the Labor Commission sends back this very important, very official work permit. Then I get to go to work.
Well, thank you very much. This has been very important information. Thank you. We thought it would be interesting and informative to talk to kids who were doing commercials today. I interviewed several of them and asked them about their experiences.
One thing I really like to do when I go into interviews is meet people and jobs. I like to meet friends and the teacher on the studio set and the director and other people, and they're usually really nice. All the commercials and shows I've been on, they've been really nice.
I like going to movies, and I like being in front of the camera a lot. I like to meet different people. It's fun since I've been acting.
My life's changed about how people notice me. They don't just notice me as a plain kid anymore. They think, well, that I know her and that she's going to be a big star someday. And it just makes my life more exciting. I went on one audition and I got my first job. I love being in front of the cameras. I like the business much better than cheerleading because the business is really fun. I want to do commercials. What advice would you give to me?
Try to be yourself and not try to be somebody you can't be. And know that going with the confident feeling that you're going to get the commercial and that nobody else matters, it's just you that they want to see.
Learn more about acting. If you want to be in show business, you can't be shy.
When I came here, I thought I really knew about acting, but when you're in acting class, they tell you like steps to do in an audition, and it's really important because when you first go on an audition, if you haven't taken acting classes, you really won't know what you're doing.
Be yourself and do what you want to do. My mom can give you some good advice. And my mom can tell you some good information. They sure can.
Well, why not we let our parents have a chance to talk?
But what should we ask them?
How we start acting. How did you start acting?
Why don't you ask our parents?
Oh, yes. How did they start acting? Is that any good?
I started my child in the commercials because he wanted it. He decided it because after watching a lot of shows on TV, says, "Hey, Mom, I can do that too. That's pretty simple." And he'll mimic the things that, that went on TV. And the fact that ever since he was small, I involved him in a lot of activities, dancing, karate, gymnastics, whatever, and it just came into place.
What are your responsibilities to your children?
Mainly my job is to do the gopher work that she tells me to do. She does most of the work for our two sons that are in acting, such as taking them to the sets and that type of thing. I do the running around, picking up the pictures, dropping off the film, whatever it takes to, get them set up for the day.
I do all the hard work. I have to go and sit on the set all day. I help, set up workshops for them and finding photographers to get their pictures done, and then basically just making sure that I get all the messages for auditions correct and get them to their, jobs on time and at the right places.
Well, I'm responsible for driving him, being there when I get the call from the agency. A lot of times we'll get a call at 10 in the morning and he has to be somewhere at 3, and he has to be wearing his baseball uniform that's dirty, so I get to rush around and do the laundry and have it ironed and pressed and be ready to grab him from school and head down here.
I think our main responsibility, of course, is financial, providing the money for them to be able to take their classes, have their pictures done. I had to quit my job so that we can take them, to their auditions. and just basically be there and guide them. So, you know, we made sure that they weren't getting into something they shouldn't be getting into. And we just try to be really supportive of them.
Are there any tips you'd like to pass along to other parents?
I'd be so sure that my child was truly in love with the entire idea.
My advice to parents is to communicate with your children, because I think it takes you working as a team when you have a child that's involved in this industry, and you really have to understand if they may have the look, but they may not have the desire, or whatever's going on with them. The better the two of you communicate with each other, the more effective you're going to be in anything, and especially in this.
I would tell parents to just really be prepared. It's an emotional commitment, it's a physical commitment, and it's exciting and it's aggravating at the same time.
I think the biggest thing parents should avoid is putting pressure on the children. Another thing to avoid is trying to tell them how to do the part, because most of the time you don't know how the director wants them to do the part.
A lot of parents need to do an awful lot of investigating with anyone that they're getting ready to do business with when it comes to their child. And even the best can be leading you astray.
I feel the most beneficial for her as an actress in her training has been when she's able to participate in workshops that will also put her on film, because she's able to see herself as she initially began the class, and she's able to see the progress she makes when it's completed.
What mistakes did you make?
The first and most expensive mistake that we made is my husband and myself took the pictures of my son instead of getting a photographer. And we took the pictures, we took them and had them made into a composite, and I chose brown ink on tan paper. And when he actually got an agent and got into the business, I found out nobody uses that. So we had to redo the whole thing, and that cost us quite a few dollars.
We probably pushed it a little too fast. I think we went into it expecting that there would be this great movie star in our home in a matter of a few months, and you learn that it takes an awful lot of time and an awful lot of effort to even get your first job.
When we first got into this, I put so much effort into getting her ready for an interview that I ended up having so much expectations of her, and I ended up putting a lot of pressure on her.
The money your child makes, how is it handled?
I handle the money that he makes by putting us up at least 30% of what he makes in a savings account, and the rest or so in reserve for acting lessons, gas, expenses when he goes to and from auditions or jobs.
Pretty much hers will be put away for her college, but that is our plans for it. I plan to her to have all of it.
I handle most of the money in the house and for both of our sons, and most of it goes back into further training. Some of it goes towards wardrobe or to pay costs, dues, and this type of thing, photo sessions and whatever. So most of it we're putting back, you might say, into the business, hopefully to develop it.
How much of your time is involved in your child's career?
Each time he has an interview, it takes me about 40 minutes to drive to it, so that's over an hour for driving, and then it just depends on how fast the casting director's moving the interview kids through. Sometimes you have to wait a while, sometimes they're waiting for you. So anywhere between 2 and 3 hours for each interview.
That's basically why I quit my job, so that I could make their, hopefully, career my full-time job.
My child being in this business have changed my life completely. Like, I don't have a life of my own. It's all, you know, for him and on the run for him, eating my food on the run with him. But it's been wonderful, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
The parents of the children should be ready to make a commitment, because you won't believe the amount of time, effort, money that goes into this.
What do you wish you would have known before you began?
I wish I'd known how really easy it was to get into the business, and to me, how really nice people have been. I wish we'd started a lot sooner.
I think it's important to find out, you know, what are managers, what are agents, what is an interview, you know, what really is involved with the business, and there's a lot to learn.
What are the benefits of being in show business?
He's been doing very well in the last year. Not only has he made some money for himself, but the experience that he's gained and the knowledge that he's learned was just so wonderful.
And it's been very rewarding at the same time and exciting. And
what do you feel is the value of this tape?
It would answer questions, where do I go? Who do I see?
I think a tape like this is needed really badly because it's very, very difficult to get all your questions answered and not be a pest.
In addition to all the information presented by our children's commercial casting directors and agents, I asked them all if they had one last piece of advice to offer parents starting their children in their careers. What would it be?
Do confirm all of your interviews. Do have an answering machine so that your agent can leave an interview and not have to wait to get in touch with you directly. Only take one child on the interview, no other siblings. Do call your agent after your interview to find out if you have another one before you go all the way back home. Some of the don'ts are, don't try to direct the commercial, don't try to produce the commercial, don't bug the casting directors, and don't compare your contracts with other mothers on the set because there's so many variables that go into a contract. And don't get on the gossip line with all the other mothers because it can only hurt your child. Do be supportive and caring parent and have fun with it.
Don't rely on information you may hear from other mothers on the sets as to whether or not your child is being interviewed enough. Give that agent your trust.
Any kind of training in the field of acting, theater, commercials, whatever, gives children some wonderful interaction skills, some new ways of behavior that they may not have been exposed to for one reason or another. And it certainly is going to open up their thinking process and expose them to many times plays that they might never have a chance to read or hear about in school.
When your child is auditioning for a commercial, don't have your child dressed in red or white. It's important to know because most of the video cameras in the country can't manage reds or whites. It's also true about blacks, although I don't think there are a lot of black clothing for children out there. Also, remember to have your child have a social security number. It's going to take some time to get it. So if you're ready to get in the business, get a social security number. If your child's a good reader, stimulate that. Have your child read. The earlier, the better. And most of all, not too cute. Children under 14 should not wear makeup when they come to an audition. 4-year-olds with rouge is no longer cute.
From my own point of view, I grew up in the business as a child. I started when I was 3, and I know that any undue amount of pressure on a kid can really destroy them, and I've seen it happen a lot. And so my advice, I think, to anybody in that side or the parent side would be to really give your kid a lot of support and don't put any extra stress on him in situations that's already going to be stressful for him. And if he does at one point decide he doesn't want to be in the business or doesn't like it anymore, then don't make him do it. You know, the kid has to want to do it.
My best advice is, if you don't know what's going on, ask. If somebody gives you a piece of information, like the casting director says, your child is to read for the part of Brandon, then that is the part we called him into, and that's the part we want him to read. Michael may be a bigger part, but Michael may also be a different age, a different racial background. It's important that you just follow the directions.
We feel confident that this tape is giving you the information you'll need to get your child started in a career in commercials. Unfortunately, many parents have found out the hard way how much time, effort, and money goes into this kind of career. That's why we've been extremely selective in presenting to you the most accurate and up-to-date information and having you hear from working professionals so as to ease your child's entry into this commercial business. Again, the workbook that comes with this tape was designed to elaborate on the material you've seen, give you additional information, and to guide you in charting your child's progress. We wish you good luck, and we hope you've enjoyed Lights, Camera, Kids.
Cheeses are nutritional. Cheeses are what? Nutritional. Can you spell it? Sure. N-U-T-R-I. R-I. Well, I don't have to know how to spell it. No, it tastes good. Mom, I want to be on TV.